Hi, in this video we're going to be talking about the Windows Task Scheduler. So we're going to show you how it works, and then we're going to go over some more advanced examples. So as you probably know, you could use Task Scheduler for a variety of things, to run tasks automatically, to do things such as clean up your files, show reminders, launch apps at specific times, and so on. So one good thing about Task Manager is that you don't need any scripting experience to do so, unless of course you're maybe making some batch files that you're going to use, and you'll have to create those on your own. So in this video, we're going to be talking about some of the features of Task Scheduler and then show you some examples that you could follow along with. All right, so first we're going to open Task Scheduler. So to do so, you could just type it in the search box here. That's the easiest way. All right, so on the left here, we have our Task Schedule library. And you can see certain applications will create their own folders, such as Google, Mozilla, and Microsoft. And you can expand on them just like you can in File Explorer, like so. And then you can see over here, this computer has OneDrive, even though it's not technically connected. It still has some scheduled tasks, so you're going to find this for all kinds of applications, especially Windows applications. A bunch of OneDrive startup tasks that are all ready to go. WinTalk, because WinTalk is installed on this computer. We even have an Adobe Acrobat update task, and then one for Edge as well. So as you click on the items on the left, they'll change over on the right, just like File Explorer does. And then the middle section here shows you information about the specific task. So if you click on each one, you'll get information. Then we have all of our tabs across the top here. General information such as the name, what user account is going to be running the task, then the triggers, so what sets the task off, what action the task will take, any specific conditions you want to apply to it, such as starting the task only if the computer is on AC power, if it's a laptop, for example. Then we have some generic settings here they could go through, and then the history, which is disabled by default. All right, so for our first example, we're going to create a task that shows a pop-up reminder. All right, so we're going to do it right in our main library here. We're going to right-click, create task. We'll call this daily reminder. All right, so now we're going to go to the triggers tab to tell it what's going to trigger this reminder. All right, we're going to click on new for our new one. We'll do this daily for our example. All right, we're going to set a time. Let's just say 1:40. Give us a little time here to finish the task. And then, of course, you could change these other options if needed. If you want to have it expire, for example, if you only want to do it for a week or so, you want it to repeat, delay, and so on. All right, so now we're going to go to Actions. Click on New. So for this one, we're going to choose the Start a Program option. Here are your other options here. You can see these are depreciated. You used to be able to do a pop-up message using this option, but it's depreciated now, same with sending an email. All right, so for our program here, we're going to browse to Notepad. Right here, which is in the System32 folder. So of course you'll need to know where the program is that you want to use. All right, so for our arguments here, we're going to be pointing it to a text file, which I have open here, which just says time to take a break. It's called reminder.txt on the desktop, so I have the path to the file here. Now I'll click OK. And then for conditions, we're not going to worry about anything. Same for settings. All right, so this is set to run at 1:40, which is in a couple minutes here. So I'm going to click OK. So here's our task here in our list. So we'll just pause the video, wait until about right before 1:40, and then we'll see if it pops up. But I'm going to close this just because it's already open. All right, there's our pop-up here. Kind of left it on the taskbar, but it popped up the screen just like it was supposed to do right at 1:40. And then if you change your mind, you can come here, right-click on it, disable it, or delete it. So let's say you want to keep it, but you don't want to have it running all the time. You can just come here and disable it. And then, of course, you could always right-click on one and run it right on the spot here. But since it's disabled, you don't have the run option. All right, so now we're going to do our next example here, which is going to be to run a program automatically at startup. So we're going to make a program launch every time Windows boots up. So we're going to create a new task, call it Startup App. All right, I'm going to go to Triggers, do a new trigger here. We're going to do at Startup. We're going to leave all the other ones as is here. Go to Actions. All right, we're going to go New. So we're going to start a program here. So let's just do Notepad again. Click OK, and then OK. All right, so here's our Startup App schedule task. And of course, you could come here and edit it and use anything you like besides Notepad. So now when the computer reboots, then it's going to start Notepad automatically. So this is obviously going to be better suited for a program that needs to maybe run in the background or do something more important than Notepad, but I just wanted to use something simple for my example here. All right, so for our next example here, we're going to create a task that will automatically delete old temporary files. All right, so we're going to do a new task again here. We'll call this Cleanup Temp Files. All right, go over to Triggers, do a new trigger. We'll do this daily. Go to Actions, do new action, start a program again. This time we'll do CMD for command prompt. This time we need to add some arguments though. All right, so obviously you're going to have to know the arguments for something like this. So this command here will delete the contents of the temp folder silently. And that'll happen every day at 1:43. I should have changed the time here. You probably want to do this, at night instead of in the middle of the afternoon. But it just happened to pick the time when the task was created. So keep that in mind when you're creating these tasks, that if you don't change the date and time, it's going to pick the current date and time for you. Now we have this task here. All right, so now for the next example, we're going to automatically back up a folder to another drive every day. So we're going to set up an automatic daily backup of the documents folder to another drive. So this is the easy way, just do a quick backup if you're not doing any other type of backup, which of course you should be doing, or if you don't want to buy any third-party software to do the backups. All right, so I already have my batch file created for this one. It's on the desktop. So Xcopy from the user folder for Todd here for his documents into the backup folder on the E drive. And then we have these 4 switches here. So E copies all subdirectories, including empty ones. H copies hidden and system files. C will continue copying even if errors occur. And Y suppresses confirmation prompts when overwriting files. So you may have to edit this based on what you're trying to accomplish, but this is just an example for you here. And of course, you're going to have to change these paths as well to match what you have. All right, so let's do a new task again here. We'll call this daily folder backup. This time we're going to run it with the highest privileges just to make sure we don't have any permission errors. All right, we're going to go to the Triggers tab here, add a new one. All right, so we'll set this one here, let's say 7 o'clock, let's say 10 p.m. every night. Set that to daily. All right, now we'll go over to Actions, do a new action, start a program, browse to our batch file here on the desktop. Click OK. Now that's ready to go. All right, so for our final example here, we're going to set it to automatically shut down the computer at a specified time. So let's say you want to leave your computer on to be doing something and you want to maybe shut it down at 11 p.m. You could use this to do so. All right, so we're going to create a new task again. Call this daily shutdown. And run this with the highest privileges again. All right, we'll go to triggers, add a new trigger. Set this to daily. Set our time, say 11 p.m. All right, so we'll add an action. We'll do start a program again. Right, now we need to go back to the Windows folder here. Your System 32. So obviously you're going to need to know where these programs are to do stuff like this. So I know I'm looking for shutdown.exe. All right, so this time we're going to add some arguments here. So we're going to do a /s for shutdown, /f for force, and then a /t, and then 60, which will have the computer wait 60 seconds before shutdown. So if you happen to be sitting there, you'll have 60 seconds to cancel it. And now we have our task ready to go there. All right, so we have our task here, but I spelled daily wrong, but no big deal. We could change that later if needed. All right, so there are some examples of some more advanced scheduled tasks that you could configure in Task Scheduler. And then once you're running them, here's the History tab, which is disabled by default. But you could come here and enable all history. And then after they run, you could come back here and check the history for each one to see if they were successful, if they failed, or had any issues. So this is helpful if something is not working and you're trying to figure out why. All right, so as you can see, Task Scheduler is capable of much more than people realize, and you don't need complex scripts to automate useful workflows. All right, thanks for watching, and be sure to subscribe.